All right, guys, Brian with VetteSource back here today on a lovely July, middle of the week after not Thanksgiving, 4th of July, I should say. Skipping ahead. And of course, we're back into our hot, humid, and horrific weather here in Houston, which is fine and dandy. We're going to keep right on working. I got a nice warm breeze in my back, so it'll keep me from dying of heat stroke out here. But today, what I'm going to go ahead and focus on, we've actually got, let me do an aside here. We got our cylinder head ready to install on our Formula 350 for everybody that's been watching me do the tune port injection tear down. So I'm gonna clean up the cylinder head surface, mating surface tomorrow, and put that on. So I'll have that video over the weekend. Today, what I'm gonna go ahead and do is focus on cleaning up the front suspension of our 96 LT4 car. Now, I took this car for a little spin down the road, down the freeway for 4th of July. And as I came back and looked, I realized again how hideously dirty the front suspension was, even on a low mileage car such as this. Now, this just kind of is a good way to point out what happens with Corvettes even when they're stored, not driven. If you don't know, if you remember, if you watched my video on that drive I did the other day, this car has been sitting in a warehouse since December of '98, really hasn't been taken too far. And what happens though is that dirt and mud, not mud, but just gunk. Now this was, we'll get on the cars and things will happen. Now this car sat in a warehouse where a lot of 18-wheelers were coming in and out with that diesel soot and exhaust. So I've still got a lot of soot to clean up. I actually cleaned up this area already here. I've kind of cleaned up underneath the hood. I cleaned the top of the intake and some other areas, but I've really still got to get in there and deep clean a lot of spots. You can see it got kind of that diesely, oily grime all over. And of course, the front suspension was no stranger to that too, so it got a lot of stuff on it as well, and it's got a lot of dirt and stuff in here. Now, the reason why I noticed this again, and because I wanted to pay attention to it, was the simple fact that the C4s of all the generations of Corvettes probably have one of the most beautiful suspensions out there. They're these really nice looking billet aluminum control arms. That's what they're supposed to look like underneath all this muck and dirt. And even this is all aluminum right here. So, you know, just by the very nature of being in the front of the car where everything gets dirty and grimy and brake dust and brake rotors and things like that, that's why these get so dirty. Now, the 96s also have these really awesome 13-inch rotors and bigger calipers. These are the J55 calipers if you guys are into the codes. These are the calipers and rotors that were on the ZR1 Corvettes from 1995 or 1990 to 1995, and for 95 and 96 they upgraded the base Corvettes with the J55 rotors, so they will basically stop these bad boys in a short amount of time, especially with that ABS system we were talking about. So and you can see these have plenty of meat left on them still with only 23,000 miles on the car, but you can see some of the grime and stuff that came in here. So I'm gonna get set up. We're just gonna clean this area, this inner well out. I'm gonna show you how I do this real quick. It's nothing complex. It's just a matter of scrubbing down and getting it done. And this is not supposed to be this color. This is actually all aluminum. So we'll see. The only metal bracket in this whole setup is this mount bracket right here, and of course your tie rod and your sway bar. But this is aluminum, this is aluminum, that's aluminum, the brake caliper is aluminum itself, and the rotor's steel, obviously. So let me get set up. We're gonna get back, we're gonna clean this up, kind of show you what I do here, do a little detailing on it to make it look nicer, and we'll be right back with you. Hang tight, guys. Tools set up, so I'm trying to think of myself what I wanted to say, and everything in a way, or what we've got, just basic Dawn dishwashing detergent, some nylon brushes, and the hose. We're gonna start out kind of light here and see what we do. We don't want to get too tough on it yet. So the only thing I'm gonna end up taking out of here first, just to kind of get it out of the way, is this one little weather piece rubber strip right here. Now, in the earlier C4s, 84 through 87, these are bolted in place with small 8mm screws that go one here. I think there's one here, one here, one here, and one over here. But on these later 88 through 96s, these are basically press fit. So as you can see, all I've got to do is pull her up. It's a pinch fit, press fit. So just got to take that off of there. And now that's out of the way, and I don't have to worry about damaging it, and I can kind of clean that separately. So as you can see now, with this out of the way, you can see you've got 3 panels here. You got your one, my camera's in the wrong spot. You got one of your rear inner fender, your center inner fender, and then your front inner fender, all held in with these amazing Torx bolts in these 10 millimeters here, which there's about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 50 bolts. So anyway, what we're going to be focusing on is cleaning this stuff up, get the camera positioned correctly so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let's see, I think that's about right. Okay, so my main focus is going to be starting on this upper control arm and working my way down. So let's see where we can get with this here. So we're just going to lightly spray this down. And again, part of the problem with these, as beautiful as they are, is that the location alone is what causes most of the difficulties, because they're just going to accumulate a lot of road grime. And what I'm going to do first, really, is just out of curiosity, see what I can get without spraying myself with the camera, if I can. A lot of that's actually coming off already with just a fairly robust stream of the water hose there. And you can see there. So what we'll do, and it looks like, boy, they really loved to grease these over the years. He certainly took it in to have it maintained, at least, or what he thought was being maintained. So we're just going to run this across here. And like I said, the C4s, you know, if you look at the way the C4s are designed, it really reminds me almost of, if you're old enough to remember, in the C3s, they came out, Eckler's had a kit where they actually did a flip up front end that you could adapt to your Corvette, and it was a really cool looking aftermarket design. In fact, a lot of the show cars on the IMSA circuit, I seem to remember the show car circuit had those flip front ends along with that crazy paint jobs that they put on them in the 70s, the psychedelic paint jobs. And so it looked to me like the C4s was Chevy's answer to, hey, you know what, we're just going to do this ourselves and put this on the Corvettes. So there's a first spray right there, and you can actually see how much more that cleaned that off there. So what I'm going to do here real quick, we've got that upper part done. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off in here. See if we can get some of this road grime off of here. Make this look a little bit more presentable, because this is actually a natural bare fiberglass here. There's no paint on here or anything. It was actually molded in this black glass, black fiberglass, SMC I should say. It's not the press molded like the older Corvettes, and it looks really good when it's cleaned up and detailed just a bit. So let's see if that has any effect, or if we've got some discoloration going on there. Oh yeah, that's much better. There we go. That natural look, that's what we're looking for right there. Okay, so get in here and we'll scrub a little more in the center section, working our way down, because we really don't want to get too much grease on this and transfer it back to these inner fenders. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this one over here too. Doing this back inner one right here, just to kind of see how it'll look for me. Because the one thing about it, the reasoning to do this and not just leave it alone, is that when you pop the hood, this is one thing that everybody sees. They see the front suspension on these. And I think I got sidetracked there when I was talking about it. That's part of the reason why General Motors made the front suspension on these so pretty, is that they knew that you were going to be showing this off at a car show or something of that nature, and they wanted it to be looking really good. Now, you'll see guys that'll spend a lot of time just cleaning this, and this can take a while to get into if you really want to get serious with it, and that's okay. That's part of the fun having the Corvette, at least two, is doing a little bit of serious cleaning here, you know. Now in this car's case, I wish they had thought about that a little bit more, especially with such low mileage on it. But sometimes people just drive their cars, they don't really get into the super heavy duty detailing or cleaning aspects of the car. This here, this is some pretty heavy duty grease that's accumulated here. We're gonna see if we can't get this to scrub off for me, or I'm gonna have to get a little bit more extreme with it. I have to use some of my, bust out my Wesley's bleach wipe. So let's see what happens here. There we go. Okay. We're getting there. Get that all cleaned off back again. We got some more on there. And then you can start to see, there's what that finish is supposed to look like on that front suspension. Pretty nice. So, and of course, the fact that this car sat for so many years without being attended to kind of just made it worse. Now the Wesley's bleach white will work in here as well, but you want to be careful simply because it tends to discolor aluminum. Now that hasn't stopped guys and girls from, I keep using that expression guys, but I really mean everybody, from exploring cleaning their Corvettes to a very high degree. So you'll actually see people clean their Corvettes in here with and polish these control arms, which I always find kind of neat. And it looks like some of this I may end up having to take some heavy duty degreaser to this, because whoever was servicing the ball joints on this thing just wanted to really make sure they were surfaced. So let's scrub a little bit more in this section here. See, I've even got it right around there. Okay. Alright, let's see what we've got there. We're getting there. It's a slow process because there was a lot of grease on this, guys. And I'm tending to look at it now as I'm watching this. I don't know if all of that was simply just grime from 18-wheelers coming in and out. I think some of this had to do with just them over-servicing those ball joints, it might be. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to run over, get my Wesley bleach white, and we're going to try a couple of inconspicuous spots to see if we can't get that to clean up a little bit better for me. So hold tight, guys. I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Now back with our Wesley's bleach white here. We're going to try a little bit of this in a couple spots on the side of that control arm, on the top there. Let that sit for a second, and see if that has any positive effect for us. So, what I can see already, yes it does. So, again, if you're going to apply the Wesley's Bleach White, it's a really, really excellent product for cleaning your suspension pieces, but just don't leave them on anything aluminum for a very long period of time, because you may end up discoloring the aluminum. This one is not as concerning, simply because we've got some age to it, and I'm greedy and I'm going to keep driving this car. It's not going to be like a static display. So you can kind of hit it carefully. See all that nastiness there? Get some of that out of the way. And also does a really good job cleaning tires too, if I haven't mentioned. But it's good stuff, man. And I need to pull my inner control arms out to get some of this, not control arms, I'm sorry, but my inner fender wells out later to get these really cleaned up the way I want to. But for now, this is going to be what I'm looking at. And what we'll do real quick here, go ahead, spray down some of this brake caliper, show you some of the ability of it to remove that heavy duty brake dust and some of the other things there. So it's really not terribly bad, but you can look at it and see. Let me get this corner of this control on here that I wasn't looking at. How much better that suspension looks with that cleaned up like that. So like I said, some of this is just going to require some really heavy duty on my part, guys, because I can't believe they let this car get this darn filthy. Kind of taking a look at this lower control arm real quick. Alright, that's much better. Okay, so obviously this is just a start of where we need to be at, but you can see here how that actually is supposed to look in its natural state. I've got a lot more heavy duty cleaning I can see I'm going to have to be performing here, because this initial startup was good, but it's just not going to do it with as much grime as was on this one. So this will have to be done off camera. The least the basics are here for the front suspension on the cleanups, you know, especially to uncover this nice pretty natural aluminum structure here for the front suspension, which is also the reason I might add why these are still so popular with the hot rodders for the conversions. When they do hot rod conversions, they still like to use these C4 suspensions for them. All these resto mods I've been using, the C4 suspension is the one of choice, because the C5s, while they are aluminum, C5s, C6s, C7s, they're more of a cast looking aluminum. They're not quite as attractive as this. And it's, again, we come back to a visual thing, especially when you're talking to resto mod or things like this, because this is just natural. When these are polished, these look really, really, really good. So for now, that's just gonna do on our basic cleanup that we did here, just to kind of get things started. But you can see, if you're ever gonna wanna go out, detail your front suspension on your C4, basically just Dawn dishwashing detergent, a soap, a good nylon brush, and some Wesley's Bleach White will take care of a lot of stuff on this. So that's gonna wrap me up for today. I'm gonna be back on later this week with the cylinder head installation on our Formula 350 right there. See if we can't get that buttoned up in the next couple weeks, and we'll be back. All right, guys, so I'll see you all this weekend. Have a good week.